Unfortunately, TasNetworks overhead power lines kill and injure a number of threatened birds each year. So this is an area where we recorded a number of threatened bird incidents over a period of probably 5 to 10 years. And it's also an area where we've come and installed some pretty significant bird mitigation over the last year or so. The main pillar of the strategy is around mitigating our assets, so making our overhead distribution lines safer for birds of prey, particularly by installing perchers and bird flappers, which are these little devices here. Over the last 4 years, we've installed probably about 400 kilometres of bird mitigation devices like these across the state, particularly in incident hotspots. The data that we're collecting so far seems to indicate that the bird diverters are working. TasNetworks has a range of partnerships. One of those is with the citizen science project Where We're Wedgie.
Where We're Wedgie was launched in 2018 to try and get a handle particularly on how wedge-tailed eagle population across Tasmania was going. We know there are all these different threats, but we don't know if all the efforts to manage these threats are effective or not.
It's a really important question to answer because without understanding how the population levels are changing over time, we can't say whether the work we're doing is actually helping us to mitigate our impact or not.
Well, the Tasmanian wedge-tailed eagle faces a great number of threats. There are lots of effort to reduce some of these threats, but we've had very limited information on whether we're actually succeeding. These threats range from loss of nesting habitat to indirect poisoning through rodenticide, and also of course collisions and electrocution from infrastructure. How could these power lines possibly be a problem for eagles, which have such fantastic eyes? But of course all of us make mistakes sometimes, and therefore these things do happen. So if they stand on an uninsulated pole or open their wings, then they really are at great risk. A key part of Where We're Wedgie is to bring together people from all backgrounds, young and old, together to research and assist these magnificent birds.
My job here is to necropsy the eagles when they come in to look for causes of death. And so with each eagle I initially measure and take various samples. Eventually I'll open them up and work out what's going on inside. So one of the things I do is I have a forensic tool, which is a light of a particular wavelength, which when shone on burnt tissue will fluoresce, and so it helps us determine whether an eagle's feathers have been burnt and whether the bird has been electrocuted.
For over the last 4 years, we've been GPS tracking young wedge-tailed eagles because there's not much we knew about young wedge-tailed eagles, and we really wanted to find out why we were finding so many of them dead, what habitats they need, and just more about their behaviour. The most important question to really answer for Tasmanian wedge-tailed eagles is to look at the causes and rates of mortality at each different life stage and also the population number. Because with those two pieces of information we can model what the population is likely to do and to actually kind of clarify how worried we should be about wedge-tailed eagles in Tassie.
Are the numbers recovering or are they continuing to decline? And so this partnership is wonderful because we're working directly with people who are trying to manage some of these threats. So the TasNetworks funding has been already applied to create a brand new tailor-made app for Where We're Wedgie. We're also going to update the look and the feel of our website, and we're going to be including information on the individual birds that James Pay's tags are tracking.
The little GPS trackers that we use require ongoing data costs, so they're a bit like little mobile phones. And TasNetworks has allowed us to keep those transmitters going, and we're still tracking those birds 4 years later because of the money we're getting.
At TasNetworks, we care about the environment and we're advocating for a sustainable future. We've done a lot of work over the last 4 to 5 years, but we still have a lot of work to do. By partnering with organisations like Where We're Wedgie, we feel like we're doing something concrete and something concrete that the community and our team members can participate in to help protect Tasmania's big birds of prey for future generations.